Welcome to Ninerology, Faithful in the Trenches. I'm your host, Alan, and we are back, baby, after being off for a week. Was off in Texas visiting family with my wife and kids, and let me tell you what, I do enjoy the $2 cheaper gas in Texas than here in California. But we're back talking 49ers football, and it's Monday, which means there's got to be 49ers drama, and Brandon Aiyuk did not disappoint by dropping a social media clip for everybody to see, for the NFL world to be talking about. Let me just tell you, he knows how to negotiate in public. He knows what to post. I'm sure he's got some advice from Deebo Samuel. And in his most recent video, he was video chatting with Jaden Daniels from the Washington Commanders, saying that the 49ers don't want him back. Now, we all know that isn't accurate. He just received a $26 million a year contract offer, which has been noted and it's on social media and reported by other top reporters around the league. But the reality is he probably is saying that the 49ers don't want him back at his asking price, which he conveniently is not telling the world. More than likely he's asking for $32 million. If Justin Jefferson got 35, he's probably saying I'm worth 32 to 33 million. And 49ers are not going to bring him back at that amount. They're probably feet dug in. We're going to pay you 26. I assume there's some wiggle room probably to get him to 28, but they don't want to pay him any top dollar money. They don't want him to be the number 2 paid wide receiver in the NFL. I think the biggest issue here is if the 49ers current offer is 26 million, he probably would have accepted that if they offered that to him in February or March, when the market hadn't been pushed to where it is now. And so that's 100% on the 49ers. It's their own fault, their own wrongdoing, and guess what? They got to live with the consequences. And what are those consequences? You don't have your top wide receiver in camp in the offseason, and now there's all this drama when it should be on how do we get back to a Super Bowl. Now you have to deal with, hey, we have a top wide receiver who's disgruntled because he's not getting paid what he thinks he deserves, and you got to deal with that. And so question is, what's going to happen? Now, you look at the video, Brandon Aiyuk was talking to Jaden Daniels. Why was he doing that? One, they're close friends. Two, is he trying to get Washington to also get into the trade conversation? Everybody knows Pittsburgh wants to trade for Brandon Aiyuk, but if you get the Commanders in there as well, maybe there's a bidding war, and then the 49ers are more prone to actually accept a trade offer for Brandon Aiyuk. And so I could see it being a first-round pick and maybe a veteran wide receiver to come on in. We know that Kyle Shanahan loves his veteran wide receivers. Usually a rookie wide receiver will be in the doghouse for, the first year or so until they can kind of figure out how does Kyle Shanahan want to use the wide receivers that they got to block as well as their running routes. They got to be okay getting 2 catches but still running hard on every single route, something Brandon Aiyuk had to learn. I'm assuming Ricky Pearsall is going to probably have to deal with being in the doghouse for a little bit. So we'll see what happens there. But man, off-season drama is full, steam ahead for the 49ers. Something's got to give. I'm assuming that there's going to be conversations that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have to address. This might be the time where Kyle Shanahan steps into negotiations, says, hey, we need to figure this thing out or trade him. I don't see the 49ers paying north of $30 million a year. Now, if the 49ers offense morphs to more of a passing offense, even more so than they were last year, okay, you might consider paying that much down the road. But this could mean that, they're saying, all right, Brandon Aiyuk, you take the $26 million a year or you play on your 5th-year option. If that ends up happening, I don't see Aiyuk coming back beyond this year, and there's a very big potential for Deebo Samuel returning. Everybody thought Deebo Samuel was playing on a lame duck contract. I could see him being re-signed and extended after they figure out a trade for Brandon Aiyuk. And so we'll see. There's a lot of moving pieces here. Hopefully the 49ers can work it out. Hopefully Parag, John Lynch can say, look, let's get Brandon Aiyuk in camp. Let's pay him a little bit more up front. Maybe Brock Purdy shows up to negotiations. He could say, you know what, I'm willing to take less money next year when I'm available for a new contract so you can get Brandon Aiyuk in. Honestly, I think that needs to happen. I wouldn't doubt that's already happened. John Lynch, Prague probably have already broached Brock Purdy. Say, look, we can't re-sign you, but let's go ahead and do some preliminary talks to see, can we get Brandon Aiyuk taken care of, but still take care of you next year? Now, who knows? But knowing Brock Purdy, he's starting to get those endorsement deals. He could say, you know what, I'm willing to go ahead and tweak my contract next year and beyond when I'm due for a contract extension, so that way we can keep my top guys around. And so that would be dumb of Brock Purdy to not go to the negotiating table and say, look, let's get our guy in camp, pay him what he wants, and I'll take the pay cut. First off, over $55 million a year is kind of what Brock Purdy's slated to get based off of the market. He might say, you know what, I'm willing to take less so I can keep this roster competitive. So we'll see what happens. It seems like every day there's a new storyline with this, and hopefully they can work things out. That's all we got for Ninerology, and we'll catch you next time.